Google's cookie, finally, it looks like it's dead, was just announced after literally years of starting and stopping. So I want to get your thoughts on just in general, what do you think was behind the decision to stop it? And does this decision to not eliminate third-party cookies have any effect on SEO?
So about 6 months ago, I broke down when Apple came out and was like privacy is going to be in the browser specifically. I think it was like 2017 or something, ITP or whatever it's called. I'm not too deep on this stuff, but like ITP 15, whatever the freaking thing was. And they're like, okay, we're going to launch this new browser thing that'll like eliminate cookies after 7 days or whatever it might be. Apple announced that in like 17, and by like the beginning of 18, I think it was done. And you're like, all right. So Apple got rid of these cookies in like 18, 19, whatever year it was. And Google came out 6 months later, like, we're going to do it too. And then I watched how long it was taking. And I'm like, Google, it hurts their cash cow too much. So Apple, this is where Apple's got Google, because Apple, a lot of what I'm realizing about these platforms and the internet is about what land you own. Apple owns mobile real estate, desktop real estate. I cannot get to Google on a Google device for the most part, right? I get to Google through other people's devices who I compete with. Therefore, Apple can be like, we don't make money on ads that much. We're going to torch cookies and put pressure on all of our other competitors. And Google can't do nothing about it, right? Now, Google owns Android. So Google on mobile is like, we have owned real estate on mobile, but I don't think you're calling me today from a Chromebook. So Google has no desktop real estate. Like, you can't install Chrome on a Google laptop en masse. I mean, of course, there's Chromebooks, but nobody uses them, right? So really, Google's like, damn, all of our Chrome traffic is on a Microsoft device, which is Windows when it comes to desktop, or it's on an Apple device on desktop and mobile. Thank God we have Android. So Google's like, we have to produce Pixel phones, because if we don't own part of the real estate, we're always up to someone else's whims, and Apple can change their mind and do what they did to Facebook. Now, luckily, Facebook's AI ended up really backfilling. But like, you watch Facebook, their stock cratered. Why? Because Apple's like, we're going to change cookies on you guys. Why do you think Zuckerberg's so hardcore on the VR shit? He's like, I have to try to find somewhere where I can own property, because otherwise I'm always rented land, and Apple can change their mind about privacy and destroy me. So I knew that Google didn't have the fortitude to hurt their cash cow enough to get rid of the cookies. It was like a thing, you could just see it. You're like, Apple did this in a year, because their cash cow isn't cookie-based advertising. Google's 75% of their revenue comes on people clicking on ads. You really want to eliminate in Chrome cookies? It's going to hurt that ad business. That's why I also think that Google is going to have a reckoning with the future of AI, because ultimately they're going to have to take some amount of a few years of some punches on revenue, which the street is not going to like, to try to figure out how do we properly put AI answers in front of people. It's only going to take up more real estate. It's going to make it harder to get clicks on paid ads, right? So I don't think Google knows how to innovate in that sense anymore. They're too beholden to the street and hitting numbers. So therefore, they just add another ad. Think about Google in terms of their search ad product. It went from 1 ad, 2 ads, blue box, yellow box. Now it's white background. Now it's 4 ads. Now they're putting ads in the middle of the scroll. Then they have infinite scroll, so you don't know when the page stops. More ads. It's like, man, you guys are just trying to get more ads in the same little real estate, which is also just getting people to want to use other places more. So yeah, I think Google's in trouble.
I agree with you. I do. My thoughts are Google's ultimate decision to not eliminate third-party cookies. A good part of it came from brands pressuring them, going, you can't do this. You need to, like, once and for all, you're jerking us around, whatever the reasons were over the past, whatever number of years it was. Because you know this, I've written about it. I'm sure you've seen it and even talked about it. Brands scrambling to get more first-party data for the fear of that cookieless world, right? So you saw a lot of loyalty programs launched, for example, a lot of experiential events happening, all to capture first-party data, of course, with the thought being, we're not going to be able to cookie somebody third party anymore. Now, like, hold on, never mind, right? And I happen to think brands pressured Google tremendously, going, you cannot do this. That's my thought.
So the problem is that if you get any amount of traffic from people that use Apple devices, you are dealing with a lack of cookies already. So
correct.
You got to do the work regardless, which sucks, right? Like you have to now do the work regardless, because if enough of your customers are on Apple devices, then you've got to manage the fact that Apple's deleting cookies after 7 days and all the stuff they're doing for privacy. So you have to manage it anyway. So Google not doing it, unless you just want to go all in on Google's platforms and whatnot. But your customers, you can't tell your customer what device they can use. So therefore, you've got a ton of customers using Apple devices. So you still have to figure out how to market to those customers while you still have a black hole. Google just kept that black hole from getting bigger for now. It's going to be interesting.
It is. Regardless of the reasoning behind it, it is going to be interesting. And I think there's going to be, over the next 1 to 2 years, enormous change. Like you said, Google's going to take some hits. Way it is. They're going to take hits.
They are.
You know?
They're going to have to. Like, I can't imagine a world where they can put those AI answers in the results and not have it impact paid. Now, which maybe they're hoping for is that those AI results, people just keep refining them and refining them and refining them and asking more questions. So then you get more queries. And maybe you can drop your click-through rates, but if you increase your number of queries, you might be okay. It's going to be interesting.
It is. It is. Hey, I'm the guy from the video you just saw. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Now do yourself a favor. If you haven't already, subscribe to our content. Believe it or not, unconfirmed rumors and reports, you will see an increase in 20% in organic traffic just by subscribing. Okay, maybe not, but it's fun, right? But do yourself a favor, really. Subscribe to our content. You won't be sorry. Thanks.